people that are maybe tired of hearing about slave stories and want to hear more about Black triumphs and Black success.
This is
Black Triumph all day.
These characters turn the tragedy that they experience into triumph. The thing about the Underground Railroad is, for one, we know a few sentences about it in our history books.
Right.
The Underground Railroad was made up of human beings who had the courage enough to turn tragedy into triumph, to face unsurmountable obstacles, and yet travel 600 miles sometimes in order to reach their freedom.
Yeah. You know, this is an exciting adventure, and it's told from a point of strength. I mean, there's love, there's compassion, there's sacrifice, there's all of this, but this is the first time I've ever seen any narrative about this particular subject and time period where I've been proud and I've actually rooted for the situation because we're winning.
I know you was planning to run.
You're running with us.
I ain't scared.
We could help people.
You mean to harbor fugitives?
We could make a real difference.
How is the perception there in Australia for the Underground Railroad? Is the subject talked about? How did you prepare for the role?
I mean, personally, I knew very little. I had sort of a, you know, you have an overview of American history, but it's not something that is taught in our schools. So this was a bit of a learning curve for me. Fortunately, I mean, I think the way that the scripts handle this is in such an interesting way, and perhaps not what would be taught in schools here. So I think my education was a pretty great one.
My preparation was packing a bag. I got the job 24 hours before I shot. And so it was a pretty fast one. And the truth is, my character starts in a place that was easy for me to relate to. He's someone who's vehemently opposed to slavery and wants to use his intellect and his passion to fight it and try to beat it in the law in the right ways. And his manhood gets challenged to say, hey, why don't you really get in the game and roll up your sleeves and get in the front lines of this? And I would like to think in the same situation, Mark Lucas would have acted the same way. And so that was thankfully my jumping off point was there, because if I had to start where Reed did, who plays Tom, the plantation owner, that would have taken a long time for me to be able to go in between action and cut and say the things he had to say and treat people the way he did on our shows. My hat's off to what he had to do here.
You ever think about another life?
Oh yes. I've imagined thousands of different lives.
What do you want younger women to get from it, and what lessons do you want them to learn?
I want them to be proud of from whence they came. I want us to, all of us, to be able to look back on this period of time that we think we know because we've been taught it. But we've been, I feel like we've been taught it in a wash. In this wash that to be ashamed and to be kind of brushed under the rug and don't want to deal with it, don't want to see ourselves that way anymore. And Misha and Joe have written this great, exciting, complex journey that's a roller coaster ride that as soon as you think you understand these characters, like they're faced with one of life's challenges that makes them make choices that you would never expect them to make.
I would like your readers to know that we filmed in real slave quarters, what were real slave quarters. So we were on hollow ground, and that we knew that if the walls could talk, the stories that they would share, and that we wanted to bear witness to their stories.
When we run, ain't no white man gonna be able to stop us.
Run!
Why did you guys pick the subject of the Underground Railroad to write on?
Well, it started with Misha's sister.
Yes, my sister came and she said to me, it'd be a good TV show about the Underground Railroad. And I was like, it'd be a good title? Underground. And I never come up with good titles, so that's where I got really excited. And we were working on Heroes at that time. And so I came to you and I was like, I just came up with a good title, Underground. And it's about the Underground Railroad.
Run!
And the first thought I had was, well, somebody's already done that, obviously, because this is arguably the most exciting story in American history. And I was just blown away that nobody had really done it.
Right.
I mean, the idea of somebody who is oppressed and decides they can be free if they can make it 600 miles, and having the bravery to do that is arguably the greatest story in American history. So we just got so excited.
As director, what would you say was the most challenging part of a message to convey in this show?
One of the challenging things is with anything I think you do that has any kind of historical component is taking a risk and stepping out of what's known or what people associate a historical story to be. And knowing the Underground Railroad, you know people are going to come to it with already preconceived idea of what it is, but we wanted to definitely challenge that and defy anything that you think you know, which allowed us to create a different language and a different voice in telling the story that only, I think, allows us to see another paradigm in what we know a lot about this period and tone. So we were able to kind of get excited about bringing the past to the present, you know, and letting that really inspire every decision creatively that we made.
We're gonna have to fight for every step. Now we trouble. You trying to get us killed? It's all or nothing.
And for the youth that are going to be watching, what do you hope they get out of this? What do you feel the lesson is? Are we done?
Yeah, you guys are out of time.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good question, though. I think we need to answer that question. Vibe needs to hear what the youth need to. You want to take it?
Sure. I mean, as far as what the youth need. Well, right now, especially with what's going on, a lot of youth, they are angry. Some don't even know why they're angry. They are confused. They don't understand how to perceive themselves through their culture because of how the media puts out their culture. I say, you know, don't get angry, just take action. Get educated. And that's something that this show definitely will stand to do. I feel like people will understand the pain and the struggle that our culture has gone through, and when I say our culture, I mean American culture. You know, everything that encompasses what oppression has been, what slavery has been, and what has gotten us all to this point. You know, the youth from all perspectives, every color, every shade, will understand a bit more about how to appreciate us as individuals. Yeah. Everybody's worried about fighting and calling shots. Hey, I'm gonna put you in this box. This is what you look like. I'm pressed because this person, that, you know, everybody's pointing. Nobody's getting back to the point of saying, look, we're all in the same boat. We may have different experiences, but we're all, you know, fighting the same fight.
And
trying to get to the same result.
The youth have always been on the front lines of any real change, and we see that in Rosalie and Noah. They're no different. The spirit of revolution that they carry is no different from the youth that are out there right now marching and saying we matter.
Yeah.
So I think that inspiration that we draw from our past is really important, because the spirit of revolution is something that we need now more than ever.
You get caught or not, it's gonna be the slaves left behind that pay the price. Run with me. Welcome to the underground.